a Sawbox house on the coast, took her mind up St. Louis. Bill was the heir to the Standard Oil name.
Magical, man.
And the town said, how did a middle class divorcee do it? The wedding was charming, if a little gauche. There's only so far new money goes. They picked out a home and called it Holiday House. Their parties were tasteful, if a little loud. The doctor had told him to settle down. It must have been her fault his heart gave out. And they said,
It's funny, isn't it? How just like one line, just one line just sent me off, and I forgot where I was for a moment. Then the new money bit, you know, that just made me. Oh, I guess my mind, your mind moves so fast, doesn't it? I feel like I just went away, but it was only like a few seconds. The new money thing just got me thinking about. Well, I've been watching the Gilmore Girls, you know, and that's, I guess, some of the topic of that is to do with old money and stuff, I guess. And that's been kind of eye-opening, watching that kind of stuff and thinking about, you know, what education means, or what good education means. And I suppose the better the school you go to, it's not just about education, it's about networking, isn't it? And knowing people. But I suppose when I was growing up, I thought, you know, education was just knowing stuff, you know. So I would be interested, I suppose, to be a fly on the wall in some of those better schools, you know, those better homes, you know. Maybe the, you know, people's relationship with the parents is just as fucked as everyone else's, you know. I'm sure there are exceptions in both cases, whether you're from, you know, old money, new money, or no money. But is it more that, you know, that you're taught critical thinking, maybe, or how to think? I mean, just trying to teach anything in the school I went to was probably, for the teachers that were there, maybe it was a little victory just to get people to pay fucking attention, I don't know. But, you know, are we taught how to think? Not really. Are we taught what to think? Perhaps. It's that George Carlin thing of, you know, there's, you know, they want you just clever enough to operate the machinery in the factories, you know, but want to keep you just stupid enough to not understand or realise the prison you're living in. Is that an oversimplification, perhaps? I don't know. But yeah, so then I just went down all sorts of roads in my head of, you know, parents mattering more than peers, and because the people you surround yourself with, or the people you are surrounded with through choice or not, it matters, doesn't it? I suppose just the same as what I'm always saying about eating well and exercising and stuff. You're affected by the energy of the people around you and your environment, you know. That's why it's important to keep your space clean, I think, isn't it? Because it's directly related to your mind. So it's tough, isn't it? You know, if you're from a place or you live in a place with seemingly, you know, I don't know, non-playable characters, is that fair to say? And I mean, how do you overcome that? I think you can only overcome it by, I don't know, putting one foot in front of the other and stuff, I suppose, but I don't know.
Bill was the heir to the Standard Oil name and money, and the town said, how did a middle class divorcee do it? The wedding was charming, if a little gauche. There's only so far new money goes. They picked out a home and called it Holiday House. Their parties were tasteful, if a little loud. The doctor had told him to settle marvelous.
Hysteria, that was the word I was looking for the other day. It was in reaction to the Tour. I can't remember when I was speaking, in the old days, what they used to say women had or whatever, hysteria. Anyway, what was I thinking about before that then? I was just thinking on my previous points, or previous, ponderings or digressions. I suppose whether, no matter where you're from or what you do or your past or anything, you need to educate yourself, or you do need to educate yourself, but I think you need to expose yourself to different ideas and different cultures. And now, it's wonderful that we can do that. The ability to be able to do that is accessible to everybody, isn't it? Because of YouTube, because of, I suppose, I'm going to say because of streaming, you can watch whatever films, but I guess that costs money still, but as long as you've got an internet connection, you can watch YouTube and you can explore like whatever, really you want. And I think that's so important, isn't it, to do, to try to understand different, I don't say points of view, I don't know if that's the right phrase, but just, I never, when I started learning to act, or, did I learn to act? I don't know, but there was some questions that were asked in a book I got, speaking about, where's the, your character from, and I don't bother with any of this anymore. I don't write anything down. I just, that's a topic for another day, I guess, getting into it. But anyway, on this questionnaire, it was like, what's the culture like, of where your character's from, and what are the parents like, and this, that, the other. And I was so, I'm 31 or something at this point, but I was so closed-minded without even realising it that I didn't really even understand that there was so much variation from culture to culture, which, is insane now. And I really enjoy just listening to people talk about or learning about, different cultures and different attitudes towards things, and the idiosyncrasies, how do you say that word? Idiosyncrasies? Something like that, isn't it? And I never really, I never travelled anywhere really much at all. I've gone a few places with my girlfriend, I guess over the last year. Well, a couple anyway, and in the future, as I guess, well, it would be nice to do more of it, I'm enjoying, even just watching films, from different countries. I really enjoy that, from different countries, from different decades, talking about like how things were, and never really like trying to I guess, do I try to avoid forming an opinion? I'm not sure opinions are always necessary, right? I think most of the things anyway that I engage in, I just like to take the information in and sort of think about it or talk about it. I don't feel, I suppose, qualified to, I don't mean qualified, paper-wise, but I don't feel qualified to form an opinion, who am I to, I don't have enough information, I'm just sort of touching on these different things, so I'm just kind of like, oh, that's interesting, what they do or these do, or how it was, or how people are like that, But I've been watching, I watched a few films, a few Russian films, set in Soviet Union and stuff, and just real, they've got real cool titles, man, like Moscow Doesn't Believe in Tears. I think that's what it's translated as, but that's a great title, isn't it? Burned by the Sun was another one I watched. The Irony of Fate. The Barber of Siberia. Like, just real good titles, man. And I suppose, like, Russian literature is pretty rich, isn't it? I've got, like, has anybody read... I bet you haven't. I got this ages ago, man, and I haven't read it. Crime and Punishment. Just... it's a big book, isn't it, man? But I mean, I've heard good things, you know. But I don't think it's for the faint-hearted, you know. So I really should get into it. But I've just got so many books I want to read, you know. But anyway, like Russian literature is well revered and stuff, I suppose. But yeah, just watching these Soviet films and just trying to imagine like what that was like, you know, to live in that kind of system, I suppose. It's I suppose it's one thing, you know, when you watch sort of post-apocalyptic films or what's the word, you know, your 1984s or read the book 1984 and stuff, Brave New World. But those kind of things, I mean, like I guess North Korea would be like a fascinating thing subjectively to look at, you know, like what the fuck's going on there? I don't know, but yeah, I find it fascinating to watch. Just watch. It's just so far from my own experience, I suppose, personally, and you know, society-wise, and then like how does that affect, you know, the banning of religion or whatever it is, and it's like this for generations, and then that system falls apart, and then what sort of comes out of that, you know, like I find all that sort of stuff fascinating. Don't understand like hardly any of it, you know, but there's something in me that I find is fascinating about it, you know. And I suppose that's what you got to do, is follow your curiosities, right? I did have another point just now, but I kind of forgot it, so let's take it back a bit and just press play.
There goes the baddest woman this town has ever seen. She had a marvelous time ruining everything. Becca gave up on the Rhode Island set forever. Threw in all her bitch pack friends from the city. Filled the pool with champagne and swam with the big names and blew through the money on the boys and the ballet. And losing on card game bets with Dolly. And they said, there goes the last great American dynasty. Who knows if she never showed up, what could have been? There
You'll
goes
never know.
the bravest woman this town has ever seen. She had a marvelous time ruining everything.
I suppose even on my point, just this is kind of what Taylor's doing with this album, I suppose. He's just putting himself in a different place or a different time. So even watching things about, you know, the beginnings of America, you know, of the United States anyway, you know, and what life was like, you know. I suppose even it's fascinating because things change so fast, don't they? Even in the last 10 years, like things have changed pretty vastly. So then to yeah. Oh, that was something else I was going to say. Did anybody watch like Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes? They're like a series about a police officer, English TV series, who gets hit by a car and wakes up and it's like 1973, you know, and it's, you're not quite sure they're in a coma or time traveled or what the hell's going on, you know. And then Ashes to Ashes is a continuation of that in the 80s. But there was I was reading about some of the remakes that were made around the world, and they made one in Russia called The Dark Side of the Moon, I think. And there's a slight variation on the theme, I suppose, because the guy wakes up in the Soviet Union, you know, but I think he wakes up as his dad or something. But I just thought, man, that would be that. I mean, I don't know where I would have even find a copy of it. Never mind a copy, you know, with English subtitles or whatever. But I thought, wow, that would be a fascinating topic to see the Soviet Union through the lens of of a Russian from the present day, you know. But I suppose time travel fascinates me. I've always been a fan of time travel shows in general, you know. Doctor Who, Goodnight Sweetheart, Quantum Leap. There's something about time travel that I just find fascinating, you know.
They say she was seen on occasion, kissing the rock, staring out at the midnight sea.
Okay, let's take this back a little bit. I don't want to lose the flow.
Dynasty. Who knows if she never showed up, what could have been? There goes the most shameless woman this town has ever seen. She had a marvelous time, ruining everything. They say she was seen on occasion, kissing the rock, staring out at the midnight sea. And in a feud with her neighbor, she stole his dog and dyed a key lime green. 50 years is a long time. Holiday house sat quietly on that beach, free of women with madness, the men in bad habits, and then it was bought by me. Who knows if I never showed up, what could have been? There goes the loudest woman this town has ever seen. I had a marvelous time, ruining everything. I had a marvelous time, ruining everything. A marvelous time, ruining everything. A marvelous time. I had a marvelous time. So bad, the rust on your door. I never needed anything more. Whispers of, are you sure?
Thanks for watching. If you would like access to the full thing and loads of other extended content, Taylor Swift, One Direction, Miley Cyrus, videos of me playing my songs and others, link in description.